Okay, so this is the second part of how I found out that I had cancer. I went into my follow-up appointment April 2nd, 2018, and I remember entering the room and the surgeon coming into the room. He wanted to take a look. He asked me, of course, first how I was feeling, and I told him I was feeling fantastic. I felt good. I had very little pain, of course, you know, because I just had surgery. And he wanted to take a look at my incision to see how it was healing. So he took a look at it and they said that it looked like it healed beautifully. It was beautiful. Unfortunately, he said that it looks like I was going to have surgery again. And I remember like when you're playing a record and you're like, scared, like, wait, what? And he said that as he was doing surgery, when he was performing surgery, he sent out some specimen, to a pathologist, and the report came back positive for a high-grade sarcoma, which was cancer. And I remember when I heard those words, I was like, wait a minute, did he just say cancer? Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, you go in for what you thought was just a pimple, and it turns out that it was cancer. So I remember I blacked out everything that he said. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was in shock. It's like I literally blacked out. And I remember when I came through, I said, wait a minute. I said, are you saying that it's a chance that I could develop cancer or I had cancer? And he told me, I'm sorry, no, you have cancer. You still have cancer. He said, unfortunately. And he said, they're recommending that we do surgery right away because of the location. It was in my, of course, you know, my upper right part of my back, and it was close to my heart and my lungs, so it was not in a good location at all. So he wanted to refer me to an oncologist. So I remember leaving the appointment, and I was just like, it was just so much information to take in that I can't even remember half of what he said. He gave me the paperwork. Of course, I guess, you know, that's normal when you find out something like that. Like, I wasn't focusing on every little thing that he said. So I remember going to my car and sitting in my car, and I had to just stop. I sat out there for about maybe 30 minutes to process everything, because I was like, I can't drive like this, you know? It was a lot. It was a lot. My heart was so heavy. So I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to let my family know. I'm going to have to let my kids know. So right away I told my family. My mom was over in Hawaii visiting my sister at the time. So I remember that we all agreed that we'll wait till my mom returned and to tell my kids as a family, which was the hardest part. Telling my kids that I had cancer. I know my kids are a little older right now, but they're still my babies. And it's hard. It's hard. I'm still their mother. My kids are still in school, you know. So anyway, so I remember telling my family. And then when my mom got back, we broke the news to my daughter. So April 9th, this is before my mom got back. April 9th, my father went to my first appointment to meet with the oncologist. I went in with to meet up with the oncologist. They put a band on my arm and they did some lab work and did a few other tests. The oncologist came into the room and introduced himself and confirmed that I did have a high-grade sarcoma. I was diagnosed with pleomorphic dermal sarcoma, and it wasn't in a good location, and it was very important that I had stat surgery. But he wanted to first of all do a stat PET scan, because he said that it showed like fingers, to where like your cancer can like spread, like it's like they call it fingers or something like that, so which is very dangerous. So he wanted to make sure that it wasn't anywhere else in my body or come from any other part of my body. And then he also wanted to schedule for genetic testing, because he said because of my age and me being so young, I was on, you know, I'm only 38 years old, that it was kind of weird that I developed cancer like that, and also it didn't run in my family. So he wanted to do genetic testing. So he said he would order a stat PET scan, which was ordered for the next day. And then we'll go from there to schedule the stat surgery That way they know what they had to do. So I went in for a PET scan the very next day. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like all this stuff is like just so new for me. Like I was still in shock. So I went in and the tech was very nice and he could tell that I was nervous. Like I didn't smile at all. Like I had a straight face, like a scary face, like a squirrel about to, like fighting over a nut. So I was just like really? Like that's the last nut? Anyways, it was he could tell that I was scared and like he was trying to make me laugh and I just wasn't cracking a smile at all. I was like fighting back tears. So the tech grabbed my hands and he told me that he was a pastor and he right away started praying for me. And I was like, wow, this is so awesome. So he prayed for me and told me that everything was going to be okay. And he said, you are healed. You're fine. You're going to do good. He said, don't stress. So that was good. I needed to hear that. So anyways, I remember him starting the IV and me going into the machine. And as I was in the machine, it took quite a while. I remember just closing my eyes and just praying and just praying. So after I left my appointment, they explained to me that I couldn't be around kids or my kids or my family for a while because of the radiation. So my kids wound up staying at my parents' house, which was good because I don't want my babies to be, harmed in any kind of way from my medical issues. So I remember I returned back to work the next day because I didn't want to like stay at home and cry. And my patients make me happy and my coworkers and my family. So I wanted to keep my life as routine and normal as I could, to keep my mind clear. So I kept my phone close with me. I remember I went to my PET scan on like a Monday and I received a phone call from the oncologist on that Friday. It seemed like it took forever, even though it didn't. The hardest part was just waiting for that phone call. It's just waiting, because everything is going through your mind and you're praying and everything, but we're human, like I said, and we're just the not knowing, the unknown. So I remember receiving a phone call from my oncologist and he told me that it looks like it was just in that one area. And oh my gosh, like I took like a deep breath and it was just like, it was like music to my ears. So I remember him saying that he wanted to schedule for a stat surgery.